Welcome, everyone, and a special welcome to any new people joining in. This is the first time we're running an event with our friends at Linkfree.to, and we would be very happy to see more of you here. The community team will also be broadcasting this on Discord, so hello to everyone if you're tuning in from there as well. And since we should have new people here, then maybe it's best that I start with giving a brief overview of what is PARSIQ and what exactly are we building. Pretty much, PARSIQ is the blockchain data platform. So if you think about data, think about Google, Google indexes everything on the internet, and you can get the exact most relevant results in seconds or less using Google search engines and algorithms. Blockchain works a bit differently from most other data, because data about transactions, about blockchain events, about anything going on is produced in blocks. And if you imagine a library of hundreds of billions of books, and they are not put in order. They're not sorted by author, by name, by genre. Then how fast can you really find the book you need? So this is pretty much what PARSIQ is doing to the blockchain. You just ask a question, you put in a query, and you get the answer immediately. The most exact, fastest, relevant answer in seconds or milliseconds. So in a technical sense, we host full nodes of all the chains we support. We have pools of those nodes, and the pools are because we wanted to geographically distribute the nodes, so that if one node goes down, you'll still have throughput, your data still comes through, and there's less latency. And we also embed our own software into the nodes. So we see every small event, not just asset transfers, but everything, smart contract events, internal transactions, every small thing that's happening on the blockchain in real time. We index them, we put it in our own database, and we allow them to be searchable. That's pretty much how it works at a high level. Now, who needs blockchain data? I mean, the easy, if maybe not as exciting answer, but an easy answer is everyone who's using or building in Web3. So if you imagine any Web3 products, whether it's DeFi, NFT marketplaces, any dApps, Web3 applications, even centralized exchanges and fintech crypto platforms, they all need blockchain data. The architecture of a Web3 application looks like, again, at a high level, is the smart contract layer, the blockchain layer. Then you have the front end that the user interacts with. And everything in between is the back end. This is where you need the blockchain data. And PARSIQ has built a set of tools where you can build your whole Web3 backend on PARSIQ without having to spend money, do anything, or spend resource, run and maintain infrastructure, and do any of these things. So that's pretty much the gist of it. We have a lot of key differentiators from any other data platforms and data providers, but I'll get into them a bit later. Now, who uses PARSIQ? Currently, it's mainly meant for developers building products in Web3, because data is mostly accessible through our API endpoints, API keys. You can query, you can get real-time streams pushed to you based on the conditions, trigger conditions you've set, and much more. But we're also expanding this capability into a user-facing application where anyone, either a retail or non-developer institutional user, can gain valuable insight from blockchain data. Now, before we jump into the questions, I see there's quite a number of them. Let's maybe look back on what's happened in the past week or two in the industry. So obviously, the macroeconomic conditions have been great for a while. The crypto market hasn't been great in a while, but the whole FTX collapse, and I think it set the industry back a lot. So it's going to take a bit of time to recover from here. What's happened is, in my mind, even worse than any past events we've had, like Luna, like Antigox, and or anything else, because luckily PARSIQ wasn't affected, but personally I held most of my stables there patiently waiting to buy somewhere close to the bottom. And it just might be that we are somewhere close to the bottom, but I guess I cannot buy anymore. But I mean, luckily I diversified risk. I didn't have everything on FTX, so I'll live. But I know people who had everything there. I know projects who had significant portions of their treasuries, of their runway there, or all of it. Hedge funds, everyone. I think this will have serious repercussions on the industry, and yeah, I'm very sorry if any of you got hit, but the most important part is that do not give up, because I think the industry will have to grow a lot and still has a lot of potential. And maybe it's best that this happened now instead of like in a year or two, when the industry is much bigger and the market cap of crypto is bigger, and there weren't like 8 or 10 billion lost, but it would be like 50 billion. So unfortunately, that's where we are now. What this means for the market, I think, my personal opinion, not financial advice, is that we have started the bottoming process. Sentiment is terrible. Sentiment is terrible. I guess you could compare it to something like in 2018-19, except now the industry is bigger and the communities are bigger. But the bottoming process can last for quite a long time. So worst case scenario, be prepared for another year or more of this negative sentiment and people leaving. And those who survive and stay, I think, will be rewarded. So if there's any way you can get into Web3, whether to build, participate in any other way, whether you're a trader, builder, you write content, I don't know, we farm airdrops, anything really. I mean, there will be a lot of opportunities. Just don't leave. There's things, they happen in traditional finance all the time. It's crypto's 2008 Lehman Brothers moment. And yeah, as a project, as a startup at PARSIQ, we are committed to continuing building, especially now that I've always said that the bear market is best for building, and because everything you've done on the bear will be then recognized and amplified in the next bull cycle or the next market uptrend. So lots of stuff going on our end in terms of product development, clients, BD, partnerships, and more. So let's dive. Okay, before I forget, so as everyone knows, this week we launched our Supporting Web3 Building the Future Together campaign to help other startups, other Web3 projects to continue building Web3 products, Web3 applications, those that have been hit in any way by the collapse of FTX. And I know CZ started his Binance's recovery fund. They will fund or invest in certain startups who have potential. And while we can help in other ways, we can provide free data infrastructure for those teams, so they wouldn't have to quit. They wouldn't have to stop building. And it may not seem much, but actually proper data infrastructure can cost a startup $50K a year, $100K a year, or even more, depending on the scope and complexity of their product. So hopefully this will help some of the teams out there that have been impacted. All right, let's jump in. With what's been happening in the industry, will there be a seeding round for PARSIQ in the near future? So if you mean seed round, then no. PARSIQ is now growth stage, not seed stage company. We are not ruling out doing another fundraising round at some point soon. Not because we don't have runway, we have runway. We have assets. We have a pretty strong treasury and balance sheet. Not all of it liquid, not all of it in stables or cash, but plenty to get us through most of the bear market. Now, why we're considering doing that is doing the raise potentially is because we feel like we've reached this product market fit and velocity level where we just need to amplify everything. We need more data lakes. I mean, data lakes are some of the most commercially successful features or products that we're offering right now. There's a huge amount of interest. So to be able to build more of them, onboard more clients, and amplify customer acquisition, we might do around in the near future. But more information on that once we go forward with the decision and when we go forward, if we do. Is PARSIQ's direct market competitor the Graph? Can both coexist? What differentiates us from the Graph? Okay, so the Graph is a data provider. The difference is obviously functionality. It is speed. It is complexity, and a whole different positioning. So the Graph is positioned as a decentralized or partially decentralized network. So it's not a company. It's not a service in that sense. That there is no really no tech support, no one to help you on board. Well, of course, there are developer discords and people working for the foundation and so on and so forth. But it's different. So you will not get as much support from the company, since they're not a company; they are a network. And secondly, it is because they don't have the general fundamental blockchain APIs. They have the subgraphs, which have to be hosted by and run and maintained by third parties. It's a different level of complexity. It's a different level of speed, because by implementing this decentralized architecture, again, partially decentralized architecture, you cannot really provide the levels of speed and scalability and throughput. So our solution is full suit. Teams who are using the Graph usually have to use 2, 3, 4 more data providers to cover all their data solutions, and still they're not happy with everything for a variety of reasons. So we have built PARSIQ in a way that PARSIQ is all you need. You come to us. If you need custom data lakes, you contact our team. We build it for you. You can use our SDK to build yourself. And we will offer you both generic APIs as well as custom data via the lakes. And in addition to querying a database, like the Graph, we can offer also real-time push-based streams, which covers a lot of use cases that querying historical data does not cover. It's just a few. These are just a few examples of the key differentiators. So I absolutely think that the Graph and PARSIQ can coexist, and they are indirect competitors. And pretty much there will be people who are decentralization maximalists and will go and will use subgraphs. And I think subgraphs have merit, but most of our clients, they are okay with a distributed but centralized data provider, because we have ways to prove that the data has not been tampered with. You don't need decentralized data provider when the source of the data, the blockchains, are already decentralized, and there are mechanisms to show that to make it provable that the data has not been changed. Therefore, no reason to sacrifice speed, scalability, reliability over full decentralization, in my opinion. Is Google's BigQuery something to be scared about? So they also have databases of blockchain histories that you can query, simple stuff. They have ETH, but they are mainly focused on Bitcoin-like blockchains. So that's Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Doge, and so on. So I don't think I cannot foresee Google themselves building anything remotely similar to the custom data lake APIs that we're doing. So not really something to be scared about. Hi, Tom. In the previous AMA, I recall you saying that you told the BD team to contact Google about them using Tsunami for display of token balances and NFTs. Any updates? We've reached out to some Google employees. Now it's a matter of just getting in front of the right people who are responsible for the Web3 part and who are the decision makers. So as you know, with these big tech enterprises, it's a process, so it will take time. How are we different from Covalent? What about Nodereal? So Tsunami API is a competitor for Covalent's API. However, what differentiates us, in addition to greater speed and reliability, is the data lakes. So the data lakes are custom built APIs where we don't provide general fundamental blockchain data, but DApp specific, protocol specific, use case specific data, which has been translated using an ABI decoder and can also be implemented with off-chain logic and mixed with off-chain data. So it's you could say the data lakes are all products on their own, and they source the original the fundamental blockchain information from Tsunami. So it's a bit of a more complex system. And in addition, as I said, the real-time push-based data streams are what set us apart as well from most data querying services. Nodereal is a Node RPC endpoint service, kind of like Infura and Blockdaemon and such. So it's not really comparable because Node APIs, they give you like proxy access to the node, but they don't have ready-made data. You can still have to like build in-house listeners, and to get that data, there's issue with syncing the latest blocks. And when you get the data you need, if you get it, you still have to translate it, aggregate it. So we are selling data. Nodereal and similar companies are selling blockchain node access, node as a service. It's a completely different approach. And if you're talking about data infrastructure for your backend, then it requires a lot of development and dealing with complexity, not to mention the costs. What DAO has the team looked at that can help us get a grasp on future PARSIQ DAO dynamics? Well, we looked at quite a few. We have some ideas in mind. The main question is how do we set the voting rights, the voting power? Because we're not sure that one token equals one vote is a fair way to do this, because it's obviously unfair to smaller holders, and larger whales can have the majority of the voting power. One way to do this is through concepts such as reputation and any kind of social credit scores. So if you're a valuable contributor and this can be measured, your voting power will be combined with the amount of tokens, and you can, in terms of voting power, you can compete with whales who have a lot more tokens but do much less for the PARSIQ ecosystem. So this is the approach where we're considering currently. How does proof of consistency work? What kind of overhead does it add to queries, monitoring? So there is no overhead. The systems are completely like siloed and different, and it's a proof of consistency is in the other direction. So no overhead. Now, how it works, pretty much the idea is that we will implement technology, probably using ZK Snark, some zero knowledge tech, to make it provable that we haven't tampered with the data on the way from the blockchain to the user, and anyone can go and check if that is so. So this kind of puts the whole issue to bed of whether trustless and or is there a need to decentralize. So I'm pretty sure this is all that needs to be done, and all these questions are put to bed. Do you see any income start coming into PARSIQ as fees within the near term from the launching of the IQ Protocol platform and launching of the new HyperC app, both occurring before end of year? Yes, they should all happen before end of the year, and subsequently the revenue. Is it viable that PARSIQ works with projects to retrieve funds for FTX victims? Or potentially there are way too many legalities to deal with there? Well, I don't think anyone can retrieve funds for FTX victims because the assets were just not there. It's you had money that you saw on the dashboard on FTX that showed your portfolio, but the actual money was not there. So there were no reserves that have all been lost or stolen or I don't know, liquidated by stupid trading strategies by Alameda. Who knows? So there is I don't see a way here. We are kind of like a side project monitoring the funds that that the FTX hacker or the drainer has drained after the bankruptcy filing. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. Do you currently see interest towards Web3 from trad companies even under the current macroeconomic conditions? How strong the interest might be, if so? So I think there will be like two sides. Those who see the whole shit show of the FTX collapse and the subsequent fallout, contagion, like Genesis halting withdrawals, Gemini Earn halting withdrawals, and I'm sure we'll see much more in the coming weeks. So and they don't want to touch blockchain or crypto at this point, so they want to distance themselves for the time being. And then there's this other half, other group who actually sees this as an opportunity to either double down on Web3 exposure if they have any, and if they don't, then actually get Web3 exposure at optimal prices or optimal valuations. And that's fine. We'll just welcome the first half of those back, when they FOMO in at the top of the next bull run, whenever that might be. Will IQ be moved to a chain that makes sense? Arbitrum or Optimism? Please, no BSC, Sol, or Polygon. Yeah, well, if you're talking about the NFT rentals marketplace, I think layer 2s like Arbitrum and Optimism makes sense. We're going to start with Polygon and then just add as we go. So Polygon will be the first one for the NFT rental infrastructure. I do not fully understand the hate towards Polygon and these other chains. I mean, they all have their own pros and cons, but you have to admit Polygon has done really well. They have a lot of traditional Web 2 adoption right now, so I wouldn't be surprised. Again, not financial advice, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Polygon pretty much become the fourth largest ecosystem after Bitcoin, ETH, and BNB. Centralized scam. Well, you could argue that a lot of these chains are quite centralized. That's true. That's true. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we're living in a multi-chain future. So much can change in the next years, and which chains will live, which will get adoption. Will everything move to layer twos, scalability solutions? Who knows? We'll just be ready to deploy and be part of that multi-chain future and deploy on multiple of them. PARSIQ is giving free 1-year service to struggling projects. Isn't that going to impact revenue in bear market? Well, so yeah, we are not. So we are giving the 1-year free service to those impacted directly by FTX. So meaning they lost funds on FTX. They lost chunks or all of their runway in treasury. So it kind of narrows it down a bit, and I think the benefits of helping them might outweigh any small revenue loss here. Is Kucoin safe to buy PRQ? Well, we've seen after FTX, you cannot say safe about any centralized exchange, period. I mean, like Coinbase and Kraken are regulated, so they seem relatively safe. Binance is not as regulated, but it's they have strong financing and generally have done well by their customers. So I would say it's relatively safe. But as we've seen with FTX, nothing is really safe. So not your coins, not your keys, not your coins. So this applies, and even with regulated exchanges, you never know when the government can come and seize everything, because of regulation or whatever law they pass. So the risk is always there. So my advice is store all crypto either at a custodian. Again, the question is like custodian risk and which ones are safe or not. So we're kind of getting, it's it's the same circle, but that's one option. And self custody is another. Cold storage, ledger, Trezor, whatever, and it has its own risks. You can lose your seed phrase, lose your access, and so on, so forth. But if you do it right, it's the safest. It's the safest way to store your crypto, self-custody. And if you need to trade, so my advice is you deposit only how much you need to trade or buy. If you buy a spot, then you withdraw after you buy. If you want to sell, you deposit an exchange, you sell, you withdraw the stables or whatever you sell into. And yeah, pretty much do not hold excess amounts there. Only hold what you are prepared to lose. Any recent exits from the team due to the current conditions? Nope, nothing yet. No exits. What is the status of the NFT Marketplace, Atlas, IQ token, PARSIQ tokenomics? So as I mentioned, the PARSIQ tokenomics, we are considering implementing it Q1, Q2 approximately. So first half year of 2023. The NFT Marketplace, as I said, is ready. It's become so huge from a code base perspective. It's such a complex protocol, and then you could see some of the leading DeFi protocols with billions of market cap, and they have a much smaller Coinbase code base. So we pretty much built a spaceship with the whole NFT Marketplace, the rental protocol. And that's why it's taking more time to audit, to test, and so on. So we expect, as I said, NFT rentals to go live on mainnet before end of the year. PARSIQ tokenomics first half of next year. Atlas will depend on some things, but it's planned for next year. And The IQ token is no exact ETA because, as I said, one thing is market conditions. Currently, there wouldn't be much interest in tokens at all, in any tokens, which is fine. I mean, when we launched the PARSIQ token, there was no interest, and we just built and built, and then interest came. And as soon as people saw what we built, I mean, that's fine. But that's not the only reason. The other reason is that we need to launch on mainnet, get users, get revenue, get traction, get momentum, and then it's a better time to launch a token. So we're still considering like Q1, Q2, so first half of next year, but no exact EDA. Moralis seems to be copying PARSIQ. Even their website looks similar. How are you addressing this given that they interviewed the team a year back? I mean, the industry is not that big, right? So everyone knows everybody to some extent. I've seen different parts of our website or slogans or content or concepts, even technological concepts used on multitudes of other data providers. So I guess, it's I'll take it as a compliment that we're doing things right, and some people want to like take some inspiration from us here and there. That's fine. It's part of the game. Is NFT in gaming a dying industry? How will IQ protocol survive if there is no NFT gaming interest? So I'm pretty sure that NFT gaming, NFT for gaming, and NFTs in general, and gaming in general, Web3 gaming in general, will be like one of the biggest booming sectors of this industry in 2-3 years or more, maybe more, who knows, but absolutely certain of this. It just hasn't found its product market fit yet. Once it does, it will explode absolutely, and we will see unimaginable use cases. So this is fundamentally, NFT is fundamentally one of the most bullish assets and like verticals ever, and gaming especially. Look at, I mean, the gaming industry is bringing in billions. The Web3 traditional gaming industry, billions. It's bringing in more than all other entertainment industries together, like movies, music, and so on. It's huge. Once this Web3 gaming finds its product market fit, once NFTs find their use case, it's going to be insane. I cannot tell you. In fact, I'm more bullish on NFTs and both for gaming and non-gaming than I am for like classic utility tokens in the long term. But both have their own use cases. Is Tsunami API going to come on Casper network? Actually, we have integrated Casper in our monitoring platform because a relatively large client requested it. So we haven't really announced it yet, nor the client, but might be time soon. $3 million investment from Anatoly to Solana was given PRQ tokens. So the fundraising round that was done for tokens in 2021, Solana Foundation was one of the investors. So it's just a small chunk of that 3 million. So and the prices are different. So even if they would liquidate, then the impact shouldn't be big. But I believe that all of those investors from that round allocations have long been vested, and those who wanted to sell have sold already, and those who are in it for the long term are still holding. Any thoughts on Unmarshal? Don't know them. I don't. So I've heard the name, but haven't really looked into what exactly they provide. What is your first drink of choice to start the day? I drink a lot of water. So I drink water all the time, like in the morning, in the evening, during the day, during the night, even I have a cup of water. So I drink a lot of water. So likely, first and last drink is always water. But beyond water, I guess first drink is black coffee. No sugar, no milk. Is something still being developed for AWS partners? Yeah, it is. It's just not as as important in the pipeline. So there's still something we have partially built but not released yet, because first things first. If some things work like the data lakes, data hubs, and there's demand, then we have to double down. Hypothetically, if BSC chain was a scam and collapsed, what would happen to the PRQ and the IQ pool on BSC? Or for that matter, what about other projects with their own IQ pools? Cannot say about other projects, but in terms of PRQ, we've actually implemented the same governance mechanism for BSC PRQ as we have for ETH PRQ. So using a governance of multi-sig systems, we would be able to freeze. So essentially, if the BSC chain dies, which I don't think will ever happen, but if it does, right? So all those tokens actually exist. All your tokens that you've bridged exist on the ETH side in that bridge, and we can get them from there using the governance. So in that sense, you're covered. Is there any other teams that doing the wrapped NFT? There are other rental projects. Actually, quite a lot of them have popped up. To my knowledge, some have already died. Others are dead on arrival, meaning they will never launch. And there are a couple of strong ones who have actually launched their marketplaces, but as far as I know, they have almost zero activity there. So all of them have different mechanisms how they do their renting. Some have like proxy contracts, some have wrapped or something similar to wrapped NFTs. Some have like escrow, centralized escrow, and then so on and so forth. So no one is doing it exactly like this. Most importantly is that we've built the whole infrastructure around it for payments, for revenue splits, tournament plays, bidding, queuing, guild management, scholarship management around the rentals. And this is one of the core value propositions. It's something that I don't believe anyone else has done. And this is pretty much what I've been saying in terms of the code base becoming huge, like a spaceship of a product, which hopefully will be able to fly. If PARSIQ doesn't become the first data provider, blockchain provider, who would you see winning the race? It's a good question. I mean, there are like large amounts of data players launching this bear market, which is great, and they all get funding because that's what people love to invest in the bear markets. It's data, it's infrastructure plays, and not usually not NFTs or stuff like that. And who I see winning the race? It's a good question. Those new ones that I've seen launching, some of them are promising, but too early stage to really say. It's a good question. It's a good question. I think it's too early to say. I think PARSIQ should win the race, or at least get the majority market share. I think there is an opportunity for that. Do you foresee any strong regulations from Biden to ban Bitcoin now that his funding donation will stop from SPF? I don't think they'll ban Bitcoin. I don't think so. What they can do is declare ETH and all tokens, most tokens, as securities that have to be registered and so on and so forth. But that actually affects only the US and US citizens mainly. So this is possible. It will be a pretty big hit for the industry, but everything will live on. Always, the industry will, the community will always find a way. What will be the first trend during the next bull run? DeFi or NFT or gaming or something new? Good question. I definitely foresee a big NFT and gaming boom, but it might not be during the beginning of the bull run. It might come later as a cycle. Who knows? But I'm thinking a huge one. I even think that NFTs separately can have their own bull run, which either begins earlier than the crypto bull run or lasts longer than the crypto bull run, possibly. Some things I'm bullish on. Obviously, DeFi will find bid because of the FTX thing. Everyone realizing that DeFi doesn't have these problems. DeFi is a solution. It has other problems like smart contract bugs and exploits, but it kind of removes the centralized middlemen and all the counterparty risk associated with those centralized middlemen. So I think DeFi is good. NFTs will be huge. Gaming will be huge once a couple of really good games integrate with Web3. And I think things like interoperability and bridging solutions will be big. And another one is layer 2s and scalability blockchains. Who knows? Maybe even privacy. Maybe privacy blockchains will come back. Can have IQ airdrop live estimate page where shown how much IQ2 you're going to get. Well, this is not possible right now because everyone who's staking is the calculation is ongoing. We can only show the estimate of how much you're going to get once the eligibility ends. So and that should be closer to the token launch. What role does the token play in our ecosystem? Well, currently it's an access token, so you can use PRQ tokens to use the services for free. The more you need to services you need, the more you need to hold. And if you don't want to buy them and hold them and expose yourself to the volatility, lock up your capital, you can rent them for a small fee, basically like a SaaS subscription. And so on. So this is the current model, but we are revamping it. And PRQ will instead play a central role in the public SDK, the Data Lakes Marketplace. So any third-party dev who is building a data lake using our SDK can put the data lake on the marketplace. They can deploy and run the data lake for free on PARSIQ network by staking a certain amount of tokens. And they can even monetize the data lake they've built. So ask funds for access. And same mechanics will likely be included, that if you don't have the money to buy that much PRQ, to stake it, to be able to run your data lake on the PARSIQ network for free forever, then you can rent it. And in addition to the PARSIQ DAO and everything that relates to it. So as I said, expect some more information in Q1, and hopefully the implementation of the tokenomics around Q1, Q2. Do you think crypto companies should be transparent with their balance sheet, treasury investments like traditional companies? Will you consider that for PARSIQ? So we're a software provider. It's a bit different, and we're a private, not a public company. So I'm not sure if that's necessary for PARSIQ or really any other software provider that's a private company. However, I think those who actually hold and manage people's money, exchanges, custodians, like lending platforms, centralized yield platforms. So I think proof of reserves, balance sheets, and then the liabilities. Of course, it's a big help if people can actually see that everything is fine there. What is PARSIQ's plan for this year? Well, there's not much left for this year. As I mentioned before, we are launching new data lakes, public data lakes. One will be we have already launched the NFT data lake. Then we're launching the FT data lake, the fungible token data lake, and we have already built multiple data lakes for clients. Some of them we'll announce. So our goals is more data lakes, more blockchains. We've integrated already two layer 1, layer 2 blockchains into the PARSIQ network, and there will be more. So we'll announce those in collaboration with the teams of those L1s, L2s. Then more customer acquisitions, more data lakes, continuing working on the SDK, on Atlas, and the related activities. And we want to do developer community growth, partnering with universities, giving them Tsunami access, and more initiatives that we haven't announced yet with some traditional Web2 software companies. A listing has been confirmed, ready to go, green lighted. A listing which I think the community will be very happy with. But considering the whole FUD around centralized exchanges, the market sentiment, the low liquidity and trading volume, it might be prudent to postpone it into the beginning of the year. I think most of you would agree with that. It will be great to see PARSIQ Data Lakes mentioned on Layer 1 blockchain dev pages. Yes, we've even become official vendors for, I cannot say for whom, but for a number of these bigger L1, L2 subchain plays. So news on that is coming too, and will be the official vendor on their official pages. So there's lots to look forward to. The fact that we haven't been actively releasing news doesn't mean that all this hasn't been happening in on the backstage. So the team has been working very hard, and we have a lot to show for it. So we'll gradually, when the time is right, be rolling these things out. How much exposure is achieved during events? Depends on the event. If it's event is not large, really, literally, our team has spoken to every single project during the event that was there. If it's a bigger event, it's all trickier, but still a lot of exposure. We will be doing more at the start of the year at a very huge developer event, ETH event. So we'll be speaking there. We'll be sponsoring it. We'll be doing a lot of engagement. Can you give 3 of your favorite partnerships that have great future potential in your opinion? I can't really single out the 3 because there are different types of partnerships. There are like client partnerships. There are partnerships with the ecosystem partnerships, with the L1s, which I'm bullish on, where we're pretty close with the Polygon ecosystem right now, the Avalanche ecosystem, the BNB ecosystem. So we are constantly in contact and planning different initiatives together. And I'm seeing some of these chains get a lot of Web2 adoption, which is our opportunity to get more Web2 adoption. And some unannounced things that we're planning to do with Web2 companies, with traditional companies. I mean, those I'm obviously hugely bullish on. All right. Seems we've run out of questions. And almost an hour has gone by. So I thank you all for joining in. Everyone who was new, hope you managed to get some understanding of what PARSIQ is and what it can be and what is coming. For all existing community members, thank you for continuous support, especially in these times. We are also here for you. And if you're affected, directly, indirectly by everything going on in the markets, you're not alone. Everyone is, someone more, someone less, and the last thing that you want to do is give up or quit on this industry. Doesn't matter if you're like just investing passively a little bit, if you're a trader, if you're a dev, if you're a content writer, if you do something else, if you just scour Twitter and find interesting things and learn. So continue doing that, because I'm pretty sure like next time we'll see 8 to 10 trillion market cap at least, and people coming back, and those who are vocally negative about the industry, FOMOing in. It's cycles are the same. Some circumstances are different. The time frames can be different, but the main idea is the same. Crypto is not going anywhere. Blockchain is still the future, because it has the potential to solve and disrupt so many verticals of so many industries and the lives of people. It might be funny to hear that, but if you like zoom out, we are still early. Of course, we're not as early as every year we're less early, but in the grand scheme of things, we are still early. So don't quit. Don't be depressed if you have losses, direct or indirect, because of what's happening. I get wrecked pretty hard personally, but just onwards and upwards. So it's just has to give you additional conviction to continue and grow. And the best investment is in yourself. Like learn more about the industry. If you're a coder, learn more. If you are an investor, learn more. Invest in yourself, and that will pay off. All right, thanks for listening in, and see you in a couple of weeks. Stay safe out there.